I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Accomando.
Present.
Mr. Buffi.
Present.
Mr. Hewitt.
Present.
Mr. Lucchino.
Present.
Mr. Quinn. Ms. Sanchez.
Present.
Mrs. Scampico.
Present.
Mr. Singh. Mrs. Otterell.
Present. Adequate notice of, please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and to the Bergen Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975. I'll now turn the meeting over to our superintendent for his report.
Thank you. The end of the school year is always really a great time of an educational year. You're summing up many of the successes that the district has experienced, whether it's students, staff, etc. Tomorrow night, we're doing a senior scholarship dinner, which I look forward to honor many of the seniors. I've been involved in a couple ceremonies the last couple of weeks, and those are always the positives. That's what we're all here for, to see kids excel. And it's bittersweet with some because you honor the success of some of your staff members that retire. And many of them, when they get into a profession in a district, put many years into a particular district to benefit, again, the kids. You have that enthusiasm and excitement. I say it's bittersweet. It's great for the retiree. We have one here tonight. We got to know her for a month, but they did come down with their choral before Christmas, so I did get to see that. And again, as I say, don't follow me. I failed miserably. But it's bitter because the excellence and the greatness of that staff member is no longer here on a daily basis. So I'm asking Mr. Lawler to come up and speak about Cynthia at this particular point, because it's a special night to honor her for all the years that she put inside.
Thank you, Mr. Ammerman, members of the Board of Education and Public. Tonight we're here to honor Cindy Rose, who retired this past December after 22 years of service to the Saddlebrook Public Schools. I can stand here all night and talk about Cindy and learn now for 4 years. I really miss her, I also say that. Some of the things that really stood out to me the time that I've known her is really that she has built a program that can really be described as inclusive. If everyone's been to any of the concerts in winter or spring, you can see that you have the whole cross-section of our school standing up there and singing together as a group. Students from the National Honor Society next to students with special needs, next to athletes, anybody she welcomed into the classroom and they put on such a tremendous show. She helped promote a real positive image for our students in school, not only in this area at places like Riverside Square, but all down Walt Disney World. Last winter, she took a group of students to perform at the candlelight procession around Disney. So she really got her students out there in a positive way. She's recognized by her peers. Cindy had the honor to conduct the Bergen County Festival Choir this past January. I would like to serve her final performance, and it's a tremendous honor for her and for Saddlebrook as well. But perhaps one thing that really stands out about Cindy is really the connection she made with her students. It was really, they say, almost like, it set me back a little bit at this year's concert when you had something like 75 alumni got up at the end of the show and went up on stage and sung the final pieces with the current students. And I think it's really those connections that I think is part of her legacy. And you think over 22 years, averaging about 75 students a year, she connected and helped the lives of, I wrote down, 1,650 students. And the reason why I was precise with that is because if you didn't know, she also was a certified math teacher. So I wanted to make sure I had my math right with that. Cindy left Saddlebrook High School a better place. And which is why I'm requesting that we celebrate Cindy's legacy and asking the board to name our choir room after Mrs. Cindy Rose. Her colleagues Mr. Garvey and Mr. Ortega, who taught for music for the past 10 years, put together this plaque. And I'd just like to read it to you. This choir room is dedicated to our Mrs. Cynthia Rose. She shared her passion, enthusiasm, and talent as a music educator for the Saddlebrook community for 22 years. Cindy welcomed all students to this room to sing with the choir, encouraged the community to attend all the school performances, and taught us all how to find our voice and sing our life songs. And ends with a quote. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It finds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? Please, I'd just like to welcome up Ms. Cindy Rose.
Paparazzi.
One more.
Our board president has a few words.
I too would like to say, I've known Cindy for about 14, 15 years now, in many different capacities. It's we have shared crying, watching our boys wrestle each other, cheering them on a mat. She has been my children's teacher in the past. It gives me great pleasure to present her with this plaque, and I will say that this will, by far, replace my fondest memory of Cindy, which was a broken down bus trip to Great Adventure. Oh, come on!
I know, until you mentioned it, I forgot about it, but now I do.
So
that was the most fun we've ever had. That was really lovely.
from the bottom of my heart, with great pleasure, we'd like to present this plaque to Cindy Rose. It says, in grateful recognition for your years of dedicated service with the Board of Education, presented by the Board of Education. Congratulations. Any board members wish to say anything?
Yes. I too just would like to thank you, not only as a parent, very proud that we have staff like you, in our district. Your service, besides the dedication, has always been filled with passion. For 22 years, in all of your performances, you've just never lost that passion, and that's not easy to say about everybody. And I'm going to miss graduation this year because I always looked forward to, you always did a nice personal touch, and we're going to miss you. So good luck to your next chapter.
Through the chair. One thing that I know about Mrs. Veros is that she gave her all every day, and then she expected everyone to give 110% every day. From concerts to graduation, she had a top choir, and thank you.
John said something about it being my legacy. I don't really consider it, never considered my role as my legacy. I always considered it Chuck Walker's legacy. I was just fortunate enough to inherit it. I never thought that I'd do it for more than a few years. 22 years, I never even imagined I would be in South for 22 years. I jokingly wrote in my yearbook when I graduated here from Saddlebrook that one of my goals was to either have his or Salvador's job when they retired. Careful what you wish for. You might get it. All the very wonderful things that people have said about what I've done, so gratefully appreciate it. But I think that the true measure of a career is not so much your own successes, but the success that you inspire in others. One of my greatest successes is standing back here. He's a police officer in Saddlebrook now. My two children, I think, are the biggest successes of my husband and my life, and as well as the other students that I have taught over the years. I just recently on Facebook started seeing all these kids that I taught graduating college this year, and I was like, wow. I couldn't even believe that they were all graduating. So never want to sit next to, so the people they go here, and go on to my husband wanted to know if you guys, if he was willing to give it back, because he's been out for like 5 months straight. And he's ready to take it back. Actually, we're going up to Lake George tomorrow, that's why I couldn't come to the Wednesday night meeting, so, you know, who knows, but one of us, if not both of us, will be back. So we'll see what happens, but I do wish, Saddlewood continued success. It's, obviously, it's part of my life, for almost 52 years of my life, so, I am anxious to get out of the chapter, and, thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Well, Cindy, I can give you some advice. It's interesting you made that last comment. I retired first time in 2005 in December after serving 36 years in Northern Valley. And I'm thinking about the second week in January, my wife was going out someplace. And I innocently said, "Where are you going?" And she said, "Stop." And I looked at her and I said, "What's wrong?" For 36 years, you didn't care where I was. So if you're going to ask that question, go out in a car. The next 2 days, I drove around town for 2.5 hours, and I went and got a volunteer job with the Lung Association. So I hope things work out well at Lake George for you. Good, that's good to hear. Thank you.
There's always subbing, Sin.
Continue with the report. In working with the Education Foundation, I've had a couple of productive meetings with Angela and Emily. One of the requests that I made as superintendent in the short time I've been here is that there really is too many bullying incidents that are being reported, and where most of them are not bullying activities. And there's a speaker that you've had here at Saddlebrook by the name of Michael Fallon, who's renowned. He's excellent. And I've seen him in a couple of districts, and I brought him into Norwood before I left. And I did ask Angela and Emily to bring it back to the Education Foundation as something that they would help. And I got great news today that the foundation unanimously supported to pay $4,000 to bring Michael Fallon here. We will bring him here on December 5th or 6th. He will do 3 presentations. He'll do 2 to the students and 1 to the parents at night. They all need to hear his message. The biggest challenge, unfortunately, is to get the parents to come. Many times the parents don't show. And the parents that do show, you're talking to the choir. And what you really need is to get everyone there. So we're going to work together and try as hard as possible that we can really get at least one parent from each family to attend the evening presentation. Anyway, and we'll be talking about it more and working close with the foundation. We can get the information out to our parents. It is a plus for the families. It's a plus for the district. So I thank the Education Foundation for responding so quickly on that. Also, our language arts teachers, grades 7 through 12, was sent for a full-day workshop on the park, on the use of technology with the park, and also forming assessments to prepare for the park. The report I got back was that it was a very positive workshop for those teachers, and some of the teachers already implemented some of the aspects regarding delivery instruction. So what we've done is, in March, I guess it was, we sent the math department, and now we send the language arts department, grades 7 through 12. They now have a foundation. Now on June 23rd, the entire administration will have an overview of those workshops so that they can incorporate follow-ups into the classrooms to assure that we're changing our delivery of instruction to meet the challenges at work. And also congratulate the girls softball team. They got to the sectional finals this past Friday, lost in Butler. I had the pleasure and the opportunity to watch this team play 2 or 3 games. Well-drilled team, well-organized team, well-coached team. It was just a pleasure to watch it, and I do know that Saddlebrook has a real pride in the softball program. Darren White is second to none in what he does with his dedication and involvement with those kids. So I was extremely pleased with what took place and enjoyed watching them play. So now that's
Through the chair, I'm Michael Fallon.
yes.
I think it's a great idea, but there's also something called Hipster that Paramus just did that helps people with programming to get it out in a timely manner. And if something happens more than one time, a red flag comes up to let you know that there's an incident. I don't think just the parents need help on this. I think the administration needs help on this because it's a big issue. But I think that's a great idea, but I also think that the Hipster would be an additional great idea. HIV, STER. That's for Paramus. Paramus just adopted
Oh, you're talking about a process, not a presentation.
program.
Program?
It's a program that they use to.
Okay. Are you? Okay, thank you. Okay, on student services, items 1 through 4 are all special ed education. On B, administration, that's all the fire and security drills. It's a monthly report. We had 11 secondary schools, 11 secondary students were suspended in the past month. Curriculum and instruction. This is the hourly rate to do curriculum writing over the summer to enhance or improve the curriculum in the different areas. D on page 3 deals with field trip requests. Number 2 is the cafeteria lunch prices for 2016-17 school year. Ray, do you want to just talk a little bit about number 3 with the computer, because the money value is not there?
Yeah, 3, like I mentioned to the board, we're trying to get that all finalized by Wednesday, so there could be something on for Wednesday. We spoke to Scott today, and he's finalizing those. So Wednesday we'll have numbers.
4 is a county statewide thing. Ray, you want to talk a little bit about dual use?
We just, I'm
Why not?
sorry, through the chair, number 1, the under business and board, the field trips.
Yeah.
Is there a limit to how many field trips a teacher can take in a year?
No. There's not a defined limit, no. There is a point where it can become excessive and out of the classroom for instruction purposes, and that would be addressed at that time. There's no specific number that a teacher said goes over 3 or goes over 4. That's not. Ray, you want to talk about the dual use?
Dual use is annual requirements if we're using a classroom that's not changed from what it was designated as, like a full classroom, rather than divided into 2 small construction rooms. We have to file an application with the state, so these are the rooms we've used in the past. Franklin has a new room, so we have to annually file these. The county comes out and reviews them.
You want to also just quickly,
I
apologize, 5, 6, and 7?
It's just an annual tax levy payment to the town to collect our tax money for our budget. 6 is just the general transfer on there for budgets, budget appropriations that remain and unrealized revenue. We could transfer to the capital reserve account. 7 is authorized me to approve to pay bills during the summer months when we don't have meetings. 8 is an annual transportation contract we've had with the parent for the last 5 years. 9 is approving canceled checks that are over a year old.
Oh, so that was just, they were never cashed?
Right. It
Okay.
recommends ones that are over a year old to approve them up.
Okay.
On number 8, how come it's 5 years? Well, there's no out of district before.
No, they've been at district for longer than that. We've had this one. We've got other ones too. This one's about 5 years ago. You have to come annually and approve this at the county office.
Yes, I thought this was for who?
It wasn't special ed. Special ed. can
Yeah,
go
yeah,
longer.
special, this isn't, yeah,
Okay, so this is a special ed student.
right.
Okay.
Checks 10 is an item the state approved last year to list all our prior contracts approved for last year, so that's a whole list you have attached there. 11 is transfer any interest to, for the referendum proceeds to the debt service fund to pay principal and interest. 12 is an annual approval for all our school supplies, et cetera, purchased to Red Data. 13 is a request for the Ed Foundation to do a walkathon. 14 is, we have moved this from the May agenda till now to approve all the recognized parent organizations listed and further approve them as additional insured under the Board of Ed insurance policies.
Through the chair, asking to do that again. We had a meeting on June 2nd that had to be moved to June 13th, and so discussions, policy, et cetera, has not taken place yet.
I have no problem. Just want to make sure, is this a big issue with insurance, or can we wait for that meeting, and then just, I don't know what the results.
Have they always been insured under us?
That was a question
Yeah, I'm working on one.
that Ray's working on.
Because then I really would ask to table that.
It's not a problem with, and I don't know the answer, and that's why I was asking.
We don't know what the expiration date is.
Well, school board policies run the fiscal year, so then June 30th, so meeting starts up July 1. Meetings happen in August.
Well, it's also, through the chair, it's also the end of the year, so, I mean, we should have a little bit of leeway. You know,
What we could do, okay, is we'll pull it. The superintendent always has the ability to appoint between now and maybe August. And we could just say relative to the meeting on the 15th, everything goes the way we hope it goes, but we then know.
okay, thank you.
Okay. What do you got, 15?
15 is, through the township has a grant firm that they use and the Safe Routes to School project. They consulted with the town and the districts since we have sidewalks around the schools already. They discussed possibly, we did this 2 or 3 years ago for Smith School to put in a half circular driveway to come in to get the close of the main road and to drop it off closer to the front door. So we don't know how successful we'll be, but we're trying it. The township will have this on their agenda to approve. We have to approve it, then they'll file the application and can't guarantee anything, but it was denied a couple of years ago. So 16 is our contract with the Passaic County Ed Services Commission for technology services for next school year. 17 is we had a nutritional review. They do that about, right now it's 5 years. They might switch it to 3, but right now it's 5. So they came in on 2 days, April 7th and 8th, and did a full review of all the food service stuff, from financial stuff to food being served. And what you saw there was 3 minor comments, one on applications, one on actually 2 on applications, and one on I think a vegetable or something. So they were okay with everything we filed. 18 is to accept the 2 donations from Smith School PTO, the Chromebook Court, which we just received a check for this evening, and the LED sign, which the Buildings and Grounds Committee has received some information on that, and they will be installing that in front of Smith School.
Through the chair, the Chromebooks. Every school has Chromebooks.
Every school has a Chrome, yeah, I don't.
They have one card.
At least one part, I'm not sure the total numbers.
So this donation is just to add what every
I
school
understand.
has. It's not like they have Chromebooks and the other schools don't.
I believe this gives, each one has at least one part.
Okay, they just have more.
Yes.
Through chair, how many can each cart hold? That's all we have in each school.
They might have more.
So,
There's 4 parts in this.
If the question, Mike, you're asking is, do we need more? The answer is yes.
There's no set number when you're in schools, but it's at least
But do we
30.
need more? Yes.
The 19 is just the school facility request for June.
Kim, anything in policy?
we had a meeting scheduled for June the 2nd. We were waiting on some information and, something came up where all of the committee members couldn't meet, and so we just felt it was best to postpone it until June 13th. So then we, rescheduled for that day.
Anything new on budget? That's done. Buildings and grounds?
Just 2 things I could report. Tomorrow I'm having our energy audit. We have a proposal out. About 6 companies asked for a proposal. I don't know if will show up tomorrow, but at least 4 or 5. We're going to walk through all the buildings. It'll probably take all morning. And they would submit their proposals on July 12th. And then the Buildings and Grounds Committee will interview these companies and hopefully have a selection for August 24th board meeting for them to move forward with recommendations to make improvements in the school to save energy costs. And the second thing is the referendum. We've approved on the public knows. We're moving on phase 2. All the projects pretty much have been approved. We've had some kickoff meetings with the security company, the law school windows. So everything's moving forward and progressing as planned. So we're looking forward to that.
Under building and grounds, I don't know if you're aware that there was an issue with garbage months ago over the weekend. Okay, so if you're aware, is that going to be taken care of?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to approve that request for them to continue using the field until this issue is solved.
I agree with that. No, we're willing.
Okay. Curriculum?
For 5:30 for June 13th.
Yes, and we're gonna have, Mr. Steiner, Mr. Newman, Mr. Waller, over there, give updates, on their power change. We'll meet here. The curriculum committee will meet in the libraries and we'll also meet here, Kim, I'll get it out there.
I was going to say, what time, because you're meeting at 5,
5:30, we're meeting 4 o'clock.
we're meeting at 4.
Okay, and the policy committee, let's meet here also. You're just gonna move on one.
So we're in the meeting center.
Yes.
Negotiations.
Actually, good news, teachers have ratified the contract, and it'll be coming to the board for us to sign off on. So,
Wonderful.
that's a very good way to end school year.
Under correspondence, okay, there's no correspondence. Old business? New business?
Through the chair, I'd like to ask Ray if we can to look into seeing if the town or police department, which we have to approach, put a crosswalk in between our parking lot and the parking lot where the tennis courts are, and supply a crossing guard after recent incidents. And I would think it would be glad to do it because it has to be a lot cheaper than stationing a police officer out there all day. But it seems like a sensible thing since that is a major crossing point for our students.
I think to add into that, I missed reporting to the board. We had a student last week, right after school was dismissed, that was going across, a middle school student was going from the front of the building across to the tennis court side. There is a crosswalk down further towards the library. There is not a crosswalk to go through that area. And one of our substitute teachers was coming out and made a turn and hit the young student. Young student, very lucky with what took place. the response from our staff was amazing. John, can you just mention the 3 or 4 staff members that had EMT certification that immediately respond to help? Everyone, the police, the ambulance, and so forth, worked so well together in resolving that, but we did have 3 or 4 staff members immediately come out to help.
Sure. John Fontana, our school security officer, on our outside, immediately called 911 and for to assist the student. He said when the student gets this rate, our nurse would have provide assistance to all students and the student provided all the students. Through our vice principal, we were able to track down 3 teachers, also certified PTs, helped on that. James Bobby and Dave Barbarian were able to respond immediately to the scene and provide emergency care to the student while the training school and police responded. So we're very fortunate to have 3 of them on staff to be able to provide that assistance immediately to students or staff and have permission for schools. Very fortunate and actually pleased to report today that the young man came back to school. He's home today this afternoon and actually gets to work. A diligent student, and that's a really good spirit within the students.
Thank you.
Through the chair, would it be possible, even on a trial basis, perhaps, to just move the officer that's, the crossing guard that's already there, maybe put him at the busier portion of the school by the parking, instead of having two crossing guards? Perhaps it would be better to put them where most of the kids are crossing.
I think we're going to reach out because my guess, and I'm only guessing at this point in time, we might have more, is that where the crossing guard now has a lot of traffic and kids going across. So the issue is, are we better off because of the kids innocently, even though they're not supposed to cross there and they know that, just running across because it's faster to go play basketball. And I think that was what took place in this particular case. So my guess would be that we either need 2 to handle both, but we're going to reach out and speak to Penny and speak to the chief.
It would be fabulous to have both, of course,
Yeah.
but if that wasn't possible, I mean, he may just have a lot of students crossing at that point because they're going the proper way, and
We'll look into it.
John, I'm sorry to say this, but why can't the administrators be outside when school's dismissing to try to direct the students to not crossing the middle of the street?
Again, myself and Mr. Fontana were outside, talking about the daily, actually asked a question. The current crossing area is right outside of the middle school kids in that building. So there's a huge surge of kids that come out there and right over to all the libraries. Ideally, yes, doing that one at one point, the other going to the public parking lot, the other entrance to that circle. That's a flow down.
They go back.
We'd rather that we'd rather it's possible. We don't have a
Oh, trust me, you can put 20 crossing guards out there. You're still going to have the few that are going to. Okay. Any other new business? Okay, seeing how none, we're going to open the meeting to the public. Residents are requested to state their names, address, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be voiced on the when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are encouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey, the report bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Motion to open meetings to public. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meetings now open to the public. Please step with us and state your name and address.
Marilyn Masello, 152 Claremont Avenue. Good evening. Dear Saddlebrook Board of Education members, as president of the Saddlebrook chapter of Unico National, the largest Italian-American service organization in the United States, I am compelled to condemn this board's position and consideration to eliminate the Italian language from the elementary school curriculum. Eliminating this program is not only an insult to the 4,200 Italian-American families who make their homes in Saddlebrook, but it also lacks the common sense and is detrimental to the future of the young students in the care of the Saddlebrook school system. Our organization has been serving the township of Saddlebrook for close to 50 years. During that time, our members have worked hand in hand with this school system and have granted nearly $250,000 in scholarships, numerous sports awards, club programs, community projects geared toward children, and numerous other services. In the past 6 years alone, together with the Kochia Foundation, we have granted approximately $40,000 specifically in support of the Italian study program in our world language curriculum. I feel it is important to share with you the vision and plan regarding bringing the Italian program to the school district in the first place. Nearly 6 years ago, the then presidents of both Saddlebrook Unico and Kochia Foundation entered into discussions with the then superintendent, Dr. Fedina, as well as the Board of Education, to bring Italian studies to the district. The decision was not made quickly. It was evaluated, discussed, and both a short and long-term plan was identified. This was a multi-year plan. It was first to implement Italian in K through 6 levels. Then exposure was to continue with options up and through the high school level. This included starting with virtual instruction option not only for Italian but additional areas of higher grades, and then expand to instructor-led offerings. The intent was never to remove or replace any other language offering. It was to expand offerings and exposure by adding Italian culture learnings to our students. For the past 6 years, each October, our organizations have come here to present Italian Studies annual grant at a public Board of Education meeting. The current interim superintendent has told us that you all agreed to eliminate Italian from the elementary school and replace it with Spanish. You're eliminating the program our organization not only financially supports, but assisted in establishing without even a thought or a letter or a common courtesy phone call to either of our organizations to let us know of this change. You're eliminating a successful program, and yet, I watched all of your videotape meetings, reviewed all of your agenda meetings, believe me, they weren't pretty, read through all of your documents, and there is no open discussion on this topic. No public vote. So when exactly was this all discussed and agreed to? Was it in closed session? Because I can tell you that a curriculum is an open public item because that would be against public board policies if you did it in closed. Jerry Taylor and I met with Mr. Ammerman this Friday. He told us that discussions were had and decisions were made, and that you were moving to remove Italian next year and replace it with Spanish, as I indicated, in the elementary grades. That you were looking to meet your state mandate at the middle school level by adding a foreign language and adding Spanish in the middle school curriculum. And then he had told us that you're looking to add an Italian 1 class offering to be added in the 2017 and 18 year in that budget, and Italian will then be offered in the high school basically 2 years out. We had a very open, honest discussion. It was a pleasant conversation regarding the curriculum and our position. He seemed open and receptive to discussing this further, and we would hope that the board would also agree to reevaluate these positions and removal of the program as well as expansion of it. I am here to ask all of you to follow the process and discuss this topic in open forum, either tonight or Wednesday evening. Listen to those speaking here tonight and in support. Speak your own opinions, evaluate, discuss, and then vote. Represent the voice of the people and the students that you claim you would when you took office. But first, let me tell you why you should not vote to remove Italian. Children in early second language programs where curriculum is aligned with the core content areas show gains in standardized tests of basic skills and derive additional cognitive and affective benefits. By eliminating Italian language, you are also eliminating the Italian culture and the benefits of that. You are ignoring the numerous contributions of Italians and Italian Americans in various areas such as the arts, the sciences, law, government, anthropology, architecture, aeronautics, space exploration, cinema, fashion design, and education, just to name a few. Any student presently enrolled in the Saddlebrook School District looking to engage in any of those fields mentioned above would be at a disadvantage if he or she was deprived of the ability to learn that language and that culture. Some will argue you want to continue a language offered from elementary through the high school level. I agree. But if you would leave elementary alone and just put Italian in the middle school, and then you would meet your state mandate without disrupting a continued learnings of nearly 1,000 elementary students. If you honor your commitment to add Italian 1 in the high school in 2017, then you also achieve your desire of continued language education. Did you know that 1,450 students required to take a language in this district, nearly 1,000, that's 2/3, are currently taking Italian? Current student body. For every student in elementary grade Italian, all they have been taught to date. For some of them, they've basically been taking Italian for 6 years. Removing Italian to replace it with Spanish will not only disrupt between 1 and 6 consecutive years of learning already accumulated for 1,000 students, and please don't tell me they're not going to miss it because they only get 2 20-minute intervals. I can tell you that I've spoken to many of the students, the parents at the middle school level. Not only do their children love the program, they actually speak the language, so they are learning it. According to U.S. Census data, completed over by 92% of our residents, Italian represents 30% of the population in Saddlebrook, only followed by number 2 German at 12.6. It is number 1. We are an Italian demographic town. Eliminating Italian from elementary level constitutes a step in dumbing down our schools by moving our district backwards when we should be moving it forward. So this is what I would like you to consider. Maintain consistency for the 2/3 of the student body and keep Italian at the elementary level. Backfill the 1-year leave of the current Italian teacher and with an Italian substitute. Meet your state mandate and achieve your continuance desire by adding Italian to the middle school curriculum. Offer that virtual Italian next year in the high school, as well as other programs, and as you have already planned, continue to budget and offer Italian 1 in the high school the year following. This will keep the district progressing forward as you have pledged to do, not backwards while keeping the district state mandate compliant. This also complies with your desire and offer to continue the language program thread. And this direction is in line with the demographics of Saddlebrook, the Italian majority of our town. Many of us here tonight are past serving Saddlebrook Board of Education members ourselves, so we understand your role. We urge each board member to hear your voice, exercise your power, discuss, decide what you feel is best for the future of our students based on the statements and the facts I have presented here tonight. I, for one, will respect your position, but I ask you, please make one. Vote. Do not eliminate from the students. Make decisions in support of the long-term vision to expand our children's minds and experiences with exposure to additional languages and cultures while remembering the demographics of our community. Thank you for your time in this consideration. I know I stated a lot of information, so I have copies of you this evening to consider.
Hi, my name is Jessica Odom. I'm at 834 Saddle River Road. This is my daughter, Juliana Odom. She's a second grader at Long Memorial School. She came home from school today, went in her room, and started writing. She came out and told me I had to bring her to this meeting. I read her, her paragraph, and I was impressed that she wanted to come here and give her piece. She intended on reading this, but she's nervous. So I'm going to read it for her. Okay. She wrote, I would like to have Italian next year because I have already started to learn Italian and I would like to learn more. I like when we start something and we finish it and not switch to something else. Also, we do cool activities in class and it makes Italian so much fun. I really enjoy learning the Italian language and like to continue. For these reasons, I ask that we continue to have Italian for next year. Thank you.
Yeah. Jerry Taylor, 318 Shepherd's Avenue, Saddlebrook. In reference to the buildings and grounds where you stated about the garbage being outside on the thing, Unico worked the concession stand for the lacrosse tournament. Now, I know for a fact that there was a custodian in the school. Not once throughout the whole day did we see that person come out. Person would have came out, we definitely would have helped him, tell us where to put the garbage and this and that. So that's why when you come in today, or you came in, Sunday was a washout. There was garbage Smith, there was garbage here. They were in bags and all, but we never saw the custodian, not once, come out at all. So, and in the past, we've done this 3 years. And the custodian comes out, we help him, tell us where he got to go. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Hi, Emily Scamatellis, 86 Bell Avenue. Mr. Amerman and I have not seen eye to eye on a few subjects. But after speaking to him, I have to say that I agree with something that was suggested. We need to have some type of council, maybe where we could have all the PTO presidents, the foundation, a teacher rep, a Board of Ed rep, come together, whether it's every 2 months, every 3 months, and get together and work on getting the entire district on a positive movement forward. Everybody's divided. I appreciate that you're all here, you're civil, but it's no surprise, it's no secret that you're all divided. We see it in your actions. The district is not moving forward. We're sort of at a limbo until, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what you're doing, to be honest with you. We're not looking for superintendents, or we are looking. It goes back and forth. Now, Unico is upset. HIB cases have gone skyrocketed, including my own child's, who I think you guys failed. I just think that we have to work together. We have to start somewhere. You all charge that you're here for the children, so then let's put your actions to it, not just all talk when you're all separated. All of you have to come together, including with us. We're a strong team at Smith, and I'm sure Long and Franklin and Washington would definitely cooperate. And we need to just get together and try to get things, from the back end forward, because social media is destroying us, completely destroying this town. And it's a shame because we're not a bad town. I mean, we should really have people lining up. There should be a waiting list to get into this town. Instead, everybody can't wait to get the hell out of here. It's really horrible that this is where we've gotten. We really need to work together. Have everybody check their egos at the door, and let's just work together and just let bygones be bygones and just move forward.
Sure.
I think now,
Yes.
because each school represents each school is represented one person that was they would meet every other month, and it was a much better, I'm going to say, environment, whatever you want to call it, but it was definitely more cohesive, definitely. It was townwide. Each school represented, there was, running open, people wanted to come. Yeah. It might be something in the kind of like what they think about again, I'm sure there was schools that participate. Just like,
Okay.
sorry.
That's right. Sue Syme, 121 Rochelle Parkway, and I am here to speak about the Italian program. But mostly, I'm not going to reiterate what Marilyn said. I hope you will read what we wrote. I sat up there for 9 years, so it's not an easy task. And some of the people that come and complain, maybe they should sit up there and they'll understand what the other side is like. However, that being said, I was one of the ones that always asked the third and fourth question. If something was handed to us by the superintendent, a principal, whatever, well, this is why we should do this. So everybody always asks why. There's your answer. Now we ask the second, third, and fourth question, because it's a domino effect. A lot of you are new, you have a whole new system up here. Sometimes you need the history. Sometimes you need to go back and call a Sue Syme or call a Marilyn and say, how did this come about, and what about this? Take your time. Don't just say yes to everything, and discuss in public, because that's where this should have been discussed. And I really don't want to have to come here. I did my duty. My kids are all. I don't have to come back just because I have grandchildren here. But it's not an easy task. I know you don't take it lightly, but sometimes ask more questions before you make a decision. And please reconsider this Italian program. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Elisa Cocha. I reside at 17 Lesswing Avenue in Saddlebrook. I am a parent of a Saddlebrook High School graduate and a grandmother of 2 new grandchildren here in Saddlebrook that I hope will go through your school system as well. Thank you. But what completely disappoints me is that they may not have the opportunity to learn Italian in the school system. My parents founded Cocha Foundation, and we're fortunate enough to not only have Saddlebrook Unico, but a second organization right here in town to help preserve and promote Italian culture. And some people say talk is cheap, so we try to put funds behind what we say. So we not only say we're going to support, but we've also supported you with funds. We've supported the Saddlebrook budget, Saddlebrook Board of Education budget with funds, along with Saddlebrook Unico, to support the Italian program. I'm happy to say that we have met and adored the teacher and the students. We've attended many of the programs right here. We've been invited to attend some of the programs here, and we couldn't believe the passion that the students have. So I urge you to kindly consider keeping Italian in the school system. I also teach children's liturgy at St. Philip's Church for the past 10 years, and I can't tell you how many children greet me with buongiorno. So it's not just here in school, but it's at home, it's at church, it's everywhere. So I respectfully ask you, I have the founder, Elda Cocha, here, my brother Joseph Cocha, Vice President. We are, on behalf of Cocha Foundation, we urge you to keep Italian in this Saddlebrook school system. Thank you.
Buonasera, good evening. I am the Italian teacher here in Saddlebrook. My name is Anna Maria Di Modugno, and I started this program 4 years ago, and I'm really proud. I see a couple of listeners I'm so happy to see. To have begun this new adventure, to have started a brand new curriculum, to have started this program that I feel that students have really embraced. I feel that it has become successful. I worked hard on maintaining it, and the students show it. When I come to class, I see, and you can ask the students, I see happy faces when they come in. Every time I leave the class, I always get, why so early? Why only 20 minutes? Why do everyone else get 40 minutes and we don't? So I just wanted to see, by a show of hands, the people who are present today, how many of you are from an Italian descent? Okay. Well, we have a full house. And also looking at the last names of the people of the Board of Ed, I see that there's 5 out of 10 that are Italian last names. And I was just thinking about the other cultures. I love languages. I took French. Italian is my first language. I studied Spanish, and now I'm currently studying Russian. I I think languages in a globalized society are really, really important. And I was thinking about how the other cultures keep together and are so proud of their background and their history. The Chinese support their language. They have Chinese schools in Chinatown. The Koreans are proud and support their language in Fort Lee and other towns. Russians, a lot of Russian schools in Brooklyn. Everyone is proud of their culture. And I was thinking Saddlebrook, almost 40% of the population in Saddlebrook is from an Italian descent. So why not have Italian in this town? We're killing our Italian roots. We should support it. It's one of the oldest language, one of the oldest culture. It's the cultures that brought us the Renaissance, that brought us names like Dante, Michelangelo, Machiavelli, Leonardo da Vinci, you name it. It's the culture of a well-developed country. And how can we forget about all this? So let's say we get rid of Italian because it's not as commonly used, and we just end up with only 2 languages. And we'll have Spanish and English. And then we think about, so why have Spanish when English is the most spoken language? We don't need Spanish. And so we just end up with 1 language. By that time, it would have become a gray mess. No diversity, no colors. And this is what I was thinking about. We need to keep the face of our identity, and this is what it's about. Which other culture has so many famous people that have contributed to the world in sciences, in history, in arts, in architecture, you name it? We should be proud of our culture, and I think this is why we should support it. And I just wanted to ask one more question. Out of the people who are from an Italian descent, how many of you actually speak standard Italian? Okay. And this is what we're trying to do in Saddlebrook. We're trying to promote standard Italian, which is the language that your grandparents, the people from Italian descent, used to speak. And if they could see your children, your grandchildren, the students of Saddlebrook speak Italian in our classroom, they would be really proud. Thank you.
Jennifer Miller, 12 Garden Street. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that I've seen coming out of Smith School, that my daughter was there. We had a heavy turnaround of principals all throughout grammar school. And what happened is everyone fell through the cracks, because with each new principal that came in was a new set of rules, and somebody who needed 2 years to get acclimated to the school district they were in. And everyone just kept falling through the cracks and falling through the cracks. And the middle of the road students fell through the cracks, and their parents fell through the cracks. And here we are, and my daughter's in middle school. She does very well. I have no complaints. Academically, she does well. That's because I am able to do that at home. I don't work. She is my only younger child. I have a 23-year-old. There are families that have 3 and 4 kids. I don't think we have a handle on the school district anymore. And language arts, the arts program. The question was, who runs it? Who's in charge of it? Who's in charge of theater? Who's in charge of the music program? No one, the individual principals. But the individual principals are leaving every 2 years. So where does that leave the arts program? It leaves it kind of in limbo. So here we are with language arts. Foreign language. I'm Italian. I'm 100% Italian. I'm somebody who sent my son during college to study at the American University of Rome. My daughter loved Italian all through grammar school. She got into 7th grade and she took Spanish. That's inconsistent. We need to be, whatever your decision is, and I want to thank Unico for providing my daughter with that opportunity to learn Italian all of those years, because I am Italian, and it is a heavily populated Italian area. We are, no matter how you slice it. Saddlebrook, Lodi, Elmo Park, we're Italian here. And I liked her learning the language. But I didn't like going into middle school and having to switch to Spanish. And I don't like it that we only have a virtual Italian in high school. Like, there's no consistency. So once again, who's in charge of the foreign language program? Is anyone in charge of it? Who's running that ship? Because it does need, no matter what you decide, it needs to be consistent. The kids can't come out of 7 years of grammar school or 6 years out of grammar school doing Italian and then all of a sudden flip to Spanish. And then all of a sudden get to high school and they don't know what the language is. It's just, it's kind of instability. I would personally like to see sign language. Sign language is an official language now in all colleges. Can we have that? Can we do that? I know other high schools are doing that. Sign language is a beautiful thing. We're so limited to the foreign languages that I think that with the turnover of administrators throughout all the years, no one really got a handle on it, just like the arts program. So perhaps you could elect someone or decide, Superintendent and Madam President, people to run these programs who are just in charge of these programs. This way it alleviates all of this mess that everyone has to come here for you guys to clean up because you really don't know how to do it or what to do. It needs to be within the school district, and I think it just fell by the wayside. It's nobody's fault. So, you know, whether you decide on Italian, that's great. Whether you decide on Spanish, that's great. But it needs to be followed through all the way. If it starts in kindergarten or first grade, let it start and continue in middle school and then finish in high school. Maybe these kids are going to go on to college, but they can't if they keep switching. And please consider sign language. I mean, does anyone take Latin? We have Latin. We're so limited. Why are we so limited? If it's not in the budget, maybe you could decide on it. Whatever you have to do, but if we could have a little consistency, you know, I would appreciate it for my child because that's the next step. I'd like her to go on to college. I'd like her to know what she's doing, but she can't if she keeps switching. Thank you.
Michael Cupo, 285 Washington Street. I wasn't going to say anything tonight. My son just came back from a trip, and he said, what's going to happen with my Italian when I get to middle school? Because he heard everybody talking. And it's a shame that you're just going to deep six a program without even telling anyone. And that's, I think, is not right. And you're also putting at risk a relationship with Unico, which I am also a member of, a great relationship. You guys want to be the board that know that you're the one that put Unico at risk with the school board? Think about that. Thank you.
Aye. We're now going to recess to closed session. Close executive session to discuss personnel contract
Excuse me,
negotiations.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Can I just ask, where is the conception or the concept that this was officially voted on? I don't know if there's a miscommunication with public or us. I'm saying, when did this vote take place? That's my question.
Let me give just a few things, since Kim just brought that up. I don't argue with almost everything that has been said here tonight. I had a wonderful meeting with Jerry and Marilyn, and I appreciate that on Friday. Filled me in on information that I had no. The reason this all came about was my second month here. I was talking with some of the supervisors and administrators. I don't know how we got onto it. I said, well, what language do we have in the middle school? And they all smiled at me. They said, we have none. So I heard someone say that they've got Spanish in the middle school where they came from K6. And I said, that's impossible. You have to have a language. That's the statute. I even almost stuttered. I said, there has to be a language. What is the language? I think I asked it the third time. And one of the administrative supervisors said, we do, the foreign languages. And I said there immediately, we are putting Spanish in next year for the middle school. But we're violating statute. And they said, can you do that? I said, yeah, I'm the superintendent. We're doing that. We got to get Spanish in. Now, what was the concept there? And it leads back. I also saw that 90, I could be off, John, correct me if I'm wrong, 95, 96% of the kids that come out of the middle school from Saddlebrook take Spanish. I can tell you all where I come from, 90% take Spanish. Because almost all the middle schools in Bergen County offer Spanish. That's the popular language in secondary schools. And I said, well, then our kids are already behind the 8 ball, competing with other districts. So we got to put Spanish into the middle school, 7th and 8th grade, we teach it, that'll get them the Spanish 1 concept, and then those kids can move on to Spanish 2, get 3, 4, and if they wanted to take 5 AP. But that I did quickly, and so we've got to take care of Spanish. Some districts that I've been in, that I have no problem looking at, and then it becomes a financial issue, so you've got to bring it all together, is some districts will have, it's still the majority. When I was the interim superintendent at Northvale, the majority of students took Spanish, but there was enough kids in 7th and 8th grade that took Italian, so they had one section, and we had an Italian teacher that did a section, maybe 30 kids in 7th and 8th grade, because they offered Italian at Northern Valley, because they went up to the regional school. And there are some districts that do that. A lot of districts have backed off because of the finances. But that's another challenge. Like someone said, sign language. You have a financial challenge in this district in town to meet all the needs that are all worthwhile. So, can we do something in the middle school? Yeah, we can. But the Spanish had to be improved. And then the Spanish, the Italian teacher put in for a leave of absence. So that's, Marilyn, where it was discussed, personnel session, which is private. And I said to the board, where do we move? I recommend that we move K6 to this coming year to go to Spanish to get it all the way through the K-12. But I did say to the board, you do have the decision of the Italian, we all have to be on the same page if that's the direction we're going to move in. Because I have to either go out and hire an Italian teacher for the K-6, or I'm going out to hire a Spanish teacher. We had that meeting. We had that meeting personnel-wise, which direction do you want me to go? And at that time it was, go the Spanish route. As a result, we advertised for a Spanish. We still have time between now and Wednesday to discuss this because I haven't made any appointment. And I'm open in trying to work all of these things out. There are many issues that need to be dealt with at Saddlebrook academically. But that was the process that took place. And I can't argue with any of the comments that were made here tonight. Now, can I go to the board tonight and say to them, when we talk about personnel, well, let's go out, we'll hire another Italian teacher, another Spanish teacher? The answer is no. We have to work within the finances that we have right now. But since a decision hasn't been made on the direction from the board tonight, we talk personnel, because that's on the agenda, and I'm open. But that's the thought process that went through. Did I know anything about previous agreements 6 years ago, 7 years ago? I don't know the last person that spoke. You're right on. I mean, tonight we were talking about a moving up exercise for the 6th graders. And a legitimate question was asked up here, and I said, I don't know. All 3 K-6 principals, this is their first year. I've been here 7 months. So if you're asking, what was the history? I think you brought that up. My history is 7 months, 2 weeks, 3 days. That's it. Your 3 K-6 principals are all into their first year, and one of them, I think, at Franklin, one didn't start in September, but came in October. So it's not due to lack, and I appreciate the civility and the way all of you discussed this tonight, I really do. But someone did say, there's no one up here, we go home at night, no one, board members, let's get them all out here so they can rant and rave at us. So that's not our intent. But I do appreciate the civility. There were points brought up here tonight I wasn't aware of. I was not aware of a lot until I spoke with Jerry and Marilyn. It had me thinking all weekend. And I hope, and I do appreciate your comments, that you felt I was open and receptive. As I've kept saying to the board, I've said to the teachers and everyone else, the only beauty of an interim is you can honestly tell it what you want. But I'm not looking for a second-year contract, a third-year contract. So I can say what's great, I can say what I think needs improvement, and the board has to make the decision. This board, I will say, works very hard. And we had some healthy discussions. And I hope tonight we get this result.
As a curriculum chair, I said you would make this and that you can have some discussion.
To the chair, too. I'd like to thank everyone for their opinions, but most of all, Marilyn. I had the pleasure of working on the board with her, and I've learned a lot from her. And I know she only brings up the facts, so it was nice that you did what you did. Thank you.
Through the chair, just to piggyback on my question, during the closed session, we were led to believe that we were going to have this discussion at a later time, and my question was, in order to continue, because I do believe in continuity, and I believe that if we are going to offer a program, I would like it to be comprehensive and worthwhile, and I could appreciate offering our students more than one of anything. I think it makes her a well-rounded student. I think it helps keep students in district if we can offer them different things. And so I could appreciate, the two languages, but I had also asked to have some information about the virtual, having it offered virtually in the high school, and did we get any information about that yet? During that closed session, that if we could continue in the high school virtually because we offered Latin that way.
I do not remember that comment, but I answered at that point. I don't remember at all. I remember almost everything else. I will say the virtual school is in the high school, and that can be offered. I did speak to Marilyn and Jerry regarding that on Friday, and I did say the preferred is to have a teacher. But if we can't have a teacher, that there are certain subjects, absolutely. There are districts that have virtual courses. So the short answer to that is if we were going ahead. Matter of fact, I do remember specifically in our discussion, we were the one that said, to be fair, is there any way we can do something with Italian? I hate to lose a program. And I said, good, I'll work on it. I think that's the discussion that you're talking about moving forward.
Well, I mentioned virtual because I know students who had taken Latin, and I mean, listen, any language is wonderful, but if we could offer Latin, why can't we offer something that we are instilling, starting in kindergarten?
Well, take a step further, it doesn't have to be that. High school can offer, if you've got a virtual school, depending on the amount of slots, that you can offer any subject and have students sign up for it. That should take place when the scheduling process begins. So, for 2017-18, absolutely. That we're talking Italian tonight, but that's not the issue. The issue is there a course that we can't offer because of the smallness of the school, and kids wanted to take that, whether it's in the sciences, the world languages, etc. The short answer to that is yes. Then that has to be pushed through the scheduling process takes place with the diocese.
Right, which I would imagine that it's already underway. It's June, so.
Well, the scheduling's done.
Right.
For this year.
Right.
However, and I do agree with you, if you're moving towards 17, 18, that should become part and parcel in December, November, when they begin the process with the kids. Also pushing virtual school and how many slots we're going to have. So we have virtual school, but now we have to figure out what's up. So let's take the worst case scenario, that Italian doesn't run next year. That's not our goal, 17, 18, no matter what's decided. We stated it should be offered, we could plan, and I did explain what I would try to do to move that. Also, there is a Latin program here in this school, and the Latin program in this school is excellent, but that's because of the teacher. Now, if that teacher all of a sudden retires, one thing Saddlebrook has that a lot of school districts don't have is Latin. And if you took Latin out of the mix, if that doesn't continue, no, you shouldn't have one language, just Spanish. You should have a second language at least that you can work with. And that's why after our discussion, and after what Kim had said in our meeting when we were discussing this on personnel, I said, let's move to try to see if we can get a foothold with Italian 1 in the high school and grow there so that there's a second language in case Latin doesn't work. So that's where you are.
Thank you.
We're definitely going to go for the Italian 1 for not next year, following year.
My clear statement is for 17, 18, that there will be a plan to encourage students to sign up for Italian 1 in the high school. You need 15 students to do that. Why do we need 15? For whatever reason, it doesn't have to be all ninth graders. It can be a sophomore or a junior of the following year. Because if 5 or 6 kids decide not to pursue it after that, then you're down into the 7s and 8s. So if you have like 9, 8 kids sign up and then 5 or 6 don't go, you're down to 3 now, and that's a problem because the kids have already gone through a year. So if you get 15 students, and in my discussions I was told that should not be a hard goal to achieve, then you might, if you got 31 for 17, 18, that's 2 sections. Now you've got a foothold of a language being taught every day of the year for over 40 minutes. That's what you want, and that helps in the district. I have stated that that's our plan, that we will do that, and that will take place. And if we've got 15 students, there will be 1 section of Italian 1 in Saddlebrook for 17, 18.
That was my complete understanding, and I've had discussions with a few of the Unico members. And I've stressed the fact, as long as we can get an Italian 1 the year after next to run 15, 18 students, we're good. And with how strong the Unico group is here, I find it amazing that we can at least get that, if not double that. Spanish we already have in high school. We have a strong Spanish program, we have a lot of students in it. If academically it makes complete sense for us, at least in my mind, to continue strengthening the program we have there and go into middle school with Spanish, and it just makes that program stronger. If we continue it all the way down, great. We have consistency K through 12 now. Then we start bringing in Italian 1 in high school. As that's growing, as Italian 1's growing in high school, I would support Italian 1 in the junior, middle school. I hate showing when I say junior high. In the middle school as well. And that way we have built up Italian so that when we do lose our Latin teacher, whether it's 3 years now or 20 years from now, we do have a second language still thriving in the school. And we don't end with just one. I think it's a very strong positive thing. I think our students will learn a lot more Italian. And for those who want to learn Italian, I think getting into high school as fast as we can is much better for them academically than just focusing on keeping it in the elementary schools for 20-minute sessions. If we're going to do it, let's do it so our students get the most possible advantage out of it. And that's why we're backing that process. So academically, I think it's the smartest thing for our students. And I know some people don't agree with me. I've had healthy discussions with some. But Spanish is also the second most, not only the second most spoken language in our country, but in the world. It's very useful. So that's my reading on that.
Thanks, Steve.
Through the chair, oh, you go there, then I'll, through the chair, I know we advertised for a Spanish teacher, I saw that advertised. Could we get someone that was dual certified and offer a course in Italian as well? I mean, I don't know what the.
It's an excellent question.
For
It's the rare person, that will have a dual certification, so we have Spanish, Italian. The answer to that question is maybe, but I think this has.
We could offer.
My statement would be, we can go over this in person. There is a solution in person, but I can't talk about it.
Through the chair, maybe I think a little bit opposite, but I'm thinking like a foundation of a house. You start from the beginning, you work your way up. So since we already, we did the curriculum, I wasn't part of it at the time. From K through 6, we offer Italian to build up. You can continue through, and you just don't see until the opposite. We start from the beginning. You do your basement, go to your first level, you do your second floor, and then you get your trees.
No, we can't. No, you can't speak now. You're getting the healthy discussion that you wanted to hear, being out here. So now we can't turn it into, well, that's this. So please.
For sure, we're not skipping anywhere. I'm just saying, work your way up.
I too agree with Carmine. As far as the 20-minute sessions, elementary schools, the kids are very impressionable. 20 minutes is a long time for them. My son comes home and he speaks Italian. He's 10. He speaks Italian to my 5-year-old daughter. And it's funny. You don't know it, great, but it's cute. So I agree with Carmine. Start from the beginning and keep continuing. Stop kicking the can down the road that we're not getting anything out of it. And let's just stick to one thing and get it done.
I think if there's a way, and obviously there is, for us to start this at kindergarten and continue it through 12th grade, just my opinion. It has to be, whatever it is, it has to be consistent. That's the only thing. K through 6 and then stopping and then maybe possibly picking it back up at school. I definitely would not agree with that, but to go consistent from kindergarten through, if there's a way to make that happen, I would be more than interested.
Through the chairs. As far as certifications go, would it be easy to find an Italian teacher certified at 7 through 12, or is that an odd certification?
That's not an issue.
That wouldn't be an issue?
No, it would not be.
Okay.
It would not be an issue. If in other words, if we go to the personnel, you tell me to switch on who I was going to do, that won't be an issue. Yeah, this one. Oh. Anyone else on the board?
Anyone else
We
have
can
any comments?
maybe retire to close
Okay.
session.
We're now going to recess to close executive session to discuss personnel contract negotiations and matters covered by the attorney-client privilege for NJSA 10:4-6 Open Public Meetings Act. Subject matter disclosure to public when the confidentiality no longer exists. Action may be taken when the board reconvenes in open session. Motion to go into closed. Motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all for coming.